to Talking Points. My name is Levi Kones. Tonight we are remembering the second president of the Republic of Kenya, who was laid to rest today, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. And to talk with me and share about some of the memories that we have of him from way back when we were in school. A gentleman who are all former students of Sacho High School. I will start by introducing them. From my immediate right and to your left is Jim Kisebe, karibu sana.
Asante.
And then Paul Some.
Asante.
John Klapan.
Good to be here.
And Donny Langat. So in your own words, how would you describe yourselves? Let me start with Donny.
Sacho, before.
You yourself?
Yes. My name is Donny Langat, former student of Sacho High School, admission number 1052. I joined Sacho High School in 1993 and exited in 1996. Currently, I'm a hustler here in Nairobi and a politician, practicing my politics in Langata. So.
Okay. Captain.
Yeah, my name is John Klapan. I'm in the aviation industry. I joined Sacho in Form 2 and I left in 1994. I don't remember my admission number. Yeah, I'm a product of Sacho.
Jamaa ametutisha na admission number.
Kabisa. Yeah, absolutely. My name is Paul Some. I'm also in the aviation industry together with Plapan. Joined Sacho in 1990 and left in 1993. And I'm proud to be an alumni of Mze's school.
Good evening, viewers. My name is Jimmy Kisembe, admission number 865. Joined Sacho in 1991, left in 1994. Live in Nairobi, mimi ni mfanyi biashara.
All right, karibuni sana. Welcome to CAS.
Asante.
So tonight we are talking about I resist calling him former president because I heard somewhere that, the title is not former, the person who is. The second president, the late Daniel Arap Moi. And you guys went to school at a time when he was just in the very, very prime of his presidency.
Yeah.
What are the things you remember about, one, that school when you got there? And then two, about maybe if you could remember the first instance or the first instances when you saw the man himself. Anybody?
About the school, I went to primary school here in Nairobi. So you can imagine the drive down to Sacho in the middle of nowhere. You find this very magnificent school in the middle of nowhere where you pay 5,000 shillings school fees. You're given a uniform, you're given shoes. That was quite something.
That's 5,000 per year.
5,000 per year when I was in Form 1, 93. I don't know about my seniors. But the school was quite something. It was not something I had experienced before. My first time in boarding. The facilities were world class, I would say, the dormitories. And I remember the first time Moi came. Moi was power at that time. 93, he had just won his the first multi-party elections, I remember. And I remember him showering us with gifts wherever he came. And in my mind, what comes up is just a bread. Okay, he would come and give us a makatiat. Yeah, it would be supplied and we would get it twice a week, That struck me as quite unique, especially considering where I had gone to school. I had not seen that. But previously, we had sung for Moi in primary school and all that. So that's how I remember the second president.
Yeah. Instance at Sacho and then first remembrance of the man himself.
For me, I went to school in Kitale. My first experience with Mzee, with close Mwana kwa TV nini. Then when I got the chance to come to Sacho, I was actually given a choice of between Kabarak and Sacho. But I was told Sacho had less students, so I decided to go to the smaller school. It was a shock. First, it was a shock for me, and when my dad was bringing me down Then we grow up with fathers who are tyrants. You understand?
Saddam's.
Saddam's. The car broke down on the way, somewhere in Iten. So we had to drive back to Eldoret. You know, my dad initially.
You are coming from Kitale?
From Kitale. So we had to drive back to. So the blame was all on me. Now, you see the car's broken down, I'm taking you to school, you should see the road. So the first experience was scary. Then down the valley, Skerio Valley, up to Cabernet. I looked out, I was being taken somewhere I don't know. Then when we go to the school, I was shocked because it was a very beautiful school, one. And then the community, and then we were very few from my tribe. I think we were three people. And it was scary, but immediately I settled in, the school was good. My first experience, I think, when we were in Form 1, Mzee came to church. The dining hall down there. He came to church at that time. It was the first close relationship with Mzee. And you know, that guy, the people talk of an enigma. Moi was just power. You know, we get somewhere, the school was quiet, then after that, we know there's meat, there's free bread. Definitely there's free bread, there's soda.
Yeah.
And one thing about Moi he loved school kids. And then the fees Donnie has spoken about. I paid 5,000 from Form 1 to Form 4 until the exam fees. I paid 20,000.
It was highly subsidized.
Highly subsidized. We were sleeping.
Have you seen the fee structure now? Yeah.
You'll be shocked. 250,000 a term.
About 280.
Even former students from last year are just wondering.
Yeah, I'm wondering, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah, Paul.
I was born and bred in Eldoret, and I went through a teacher, Mr. Sanga. You guys remember
Yeah,
Mr. Sanga?
Kiswahili.
PE teacher, Kiswahili. Very popular guy in school. And he got me a place. He was a good friend of my dad, and my dad was a politician. So we were lucky to get that letter, and I boarded a matatu from Eldoret. Remember, they were actually not matatus. They were
Pujo
these
5
Pujo 504s.
505s, yeah.
Yeah. So we went down up to Cabernet. Then from Cabernet, we drove up the hill, and when we were almost getting to, we go to a place called Kiptagich, which is the
market,
nearest shopping center. And when we got to Kiptagich, just looking down at the magnificence of a forested hill, and you're overlooking a beautiful red tile, a school in red tile. It was just breathtaking, and it's still breathtaking for me till this time. And that's what I remember Sacho for. It was just exceptional. Growing up with all these ideas about life, and finally we end up in this place that made men.
Had you seen the president yourself before?
Yes, I first saw the president when he came to Eldoret at the invitation of the AIC Church. There is an AIC Church opposite Rivertex, and he came for the Harambe, for the big church. It was a special dedication and in remembrance of Mzee Isaac Kosgei, the doyen of Nandi politics then. So Mzee came. The second time I saw Mzee was when he accompanied Margaret Thatcher to Moi University, and so we waited for him and Margaret Thatcher at the former airport, the small airport just next to Kipchoge Stadium. And lastly, I saw him when he came to with Helmut Kohl to Rivertex itself, because it's the Germans who sponsored
so you, by the time you were
Rivertex.
coming to such a
You had enjoyed the benefits.
Severally. But it was always a breathtaking experience to watch Mzee.
Yeah. Papan?
Yeah. So for me, I saw Moi when I grew up. I grew up in Eldoret. I was in UG Primary School, so my whole primary. So now for me, where we used to live, we were not very far from the State Lodge Eldoret. So sometimes, growing up, we were the typical watoto ya Nyayo. He would come, you all go to the road, he passes, he's there coming out of his car, waving. Then you end up we used to see him from a distance. So by the time I got to Sacho is when he was now really closer to us. Now we could see him properly. He now became more human from
Yeah, but
this
the-
larger-than-life figure.
It's very true.
And what I'll remember about Sacho, part of his legacy is that I remember when I joined in Form 2. That drive, I was early in Tambach. So when I came to Sacho, I had to stop in that hill first. You know, he had a house there. He'd built
Yeah,
a
he had a
house.
very beautiful house
Then
just
you could
above
see
the
the school there.
Yeah, yeah.
Then by the time you drive to that school, it's all tarmac. It's the middle of nowhere. You drive to that Kiptagich, you go down the school, then you go to the school, you're amazed, you know. It's this vast school. You go to the dorms, it's private rooms. I wasn't
Private
expecting
rooms
like
for-
that.
yeah.
I was expecting a hall with triple deckers, whatever, bed bugs and all that.
Yeah,
Eh?
it was quite something.
And then you go to facilities, top-notch. Teachers had proper houses,
Yeah,
better than anyone.
With
eh?
big TVs.
Proper houses. Then you go to the swimming pool. It was just amazing, you know.
That there was
There's
even a
an
swimming
arena there. There's a stadium.
There was a
Changing rooms. And the basketball court with a dispensary. There was heated water. That's a whole plant for heating water. Who was expecting all that for 5,000 bob?
Absolutely.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
It's
It
amazing.
was
Such
amazing.
foresight in those days. Eh?
Yeah.
You know, when I got Sacho, I even remember the date. It was January 14th, 1992.
Wow.
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing is this year, 2020,
Yeah.
and the 1992 calendar are exactly the same. Dates, nini, kila kitu inafuatana. So, and for me, who had never really been up close with
Mzee.
even a minister, and now this was our president, it was quite something to see him for the first time. I remember when he first came to school, there was a bit, he came like at 4 o'clock, and they came with that combi of his, and some other guys were following him. And then when he got to the this place where we raise the flag,
the parade ground.
the parade ground, yes.
Yeah, the famous parade ground.
Yeah. He addressed us there. You know, of course, talking about many things, discipline, what. And then at some point, I thought, I looked at him in the eye. It's like our eyes met, and I was so afraid. Nilisema bas.
Mini man. Of course.
Umeangaliana na nyayo kwa macho. You know, it was quite something. So, for those that, many people never had an opportunity like we did. To be very honest, we can say we were privileged because we went to a school that he built, and like the school fees were subsidized, and then the facilities were really top notch. What were some of the myths you had heard about the president, or had even around that time, President Moi?
For me, my father was a politician, and I grew up with politics. It was in our vein. I was exposed to political intrigues and all that. But he told us that, my father told us that Mzee had a ring around his eye, which in Kalenjin you call taet, you know, like a silver ring. And if you looked very closely at Mzee, you could see actually there's a silver ring around the eye. And for sure, when we lost Tutoek, his elder brother, and we did the mazishi, and Kamodho was there, and then he came over to a singenge, and then we sang for him, and then there was a fence, and then he stepped on the singenge, and he was looking at me directly. Those eyes were so piercing that I still remember up till now. So for me, just like you said, I felt like I'd broken a taboo because I looked
Directly in his eye.
directly at Mzee like that, because this is someone we hold in reverence, and we defer to him. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was my experience.
Yeah, anybody else? I know I was curious about the Rungu personally.
But Moi, but when you look, yeah. But when you look at the Moi now, you know, Moi growing up was larger than life.
Yeah, exactly.
To a point that when you describe Moi, it was like, Who will be the next Moi who will come? That was a speech in talking. We used to refer, who's the Moi of Uganda? Who's
His
the
grandson
Moi of
said that
Tanzania?
today too, yeah.
It was
Because Moi
larger
was the
than life.
president. When you look at him, he was like he was the
Yeah.
president of the whole of Africa. You understand? Because even me when I was growing up, I never imagined
Yeah.
Kenya will have another president because this was Moi.
Yeah.
This
I used to
somebody-
wonder what would happen if you could grab the
room.
yes.
And the
Or if you
amazing-
touched it.
And the amazing thing about him also, the another
you
myth
touched it.
about him that
Yeah.
I used to find fascinating when I was young
Uh-huh.
was his security. His security was now larger than life, you know.
It's tight.
Yeah.
Convoy.
The convoy, the way they are, the way they used to stop people. Like if you remember, there's a time he was talking to us in the parade ground. Then this lady came shouting, running to him.
Oh, yeah.
He continued speaking. I was just standing next to one of the security guys. All I remember is just the guy pushing his one hand, stopping the lady and pushing him back. Another guy grabbed him straight to the car. Then I was like, wow, what just happened, you know? That was a myth around him, you know.
Security.
I think I share with you the story about the Rungu. It was quite a symbol. A lot of stories about it being made out of ivory. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, they said it was
They
pure.
said so. Out
It's
of ivory.
pure gold.
Gold.
Some gold. And the mystery about it, I think to me, the fimbo, what we call the fimbo yanya, was actually just a symbol of power. And being Africans, at that time, our leaders, you remember the late Hayati Jomo Kenyatta had a whisk. Now Moi had a rungu. Because, you know, in African culture, leaders don't just walk with nothing in their hand, you know. I think you understand. It should be there in all the cultures. Right? So I think that was just a symbol of authority and his rule. So it was quite, I don't know if we share the same meaning about touching the rungu. I don't know, but
You wanted to.
nobody could dare to do that. I don't think anybody could dare to do that.
But when we were in school, Levi was the kind of person who was curious because Levi would have done something.
No, I wondered what would happen, but you know, I
But you
never
know,
really
but
put-
it always had a stand, you know, when he's there. It
It
used
was
to,
smooth,
yeah,
it was
Yes,
lit.
it
it
had
was a special
It was a
stand,
nice
there's a chair
stand
with
like
his
this
stand, you
and-
know.
Yeah.
But I also think that Rungu,
And he never got up and forgot it. You know, I used to
Yeah.
wonder, you know,
I think it was out of
Mishap.
habit.
you know how you can forget your newspaper somewhere, or you know, your phone.
you
will
can't,
come
but
like
him-
there's how you
There was
keep
actually
it.
a story that he had
Yeah.
more than one. He had a spare one somewhere.
Yeah.
The stories we used to hear.
There was a place
So
to
maybe he used to forget and somebody would carry one in the, I don't know. But there was a story that it was, he had a
spare one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a spare one.
Yeah.
Then there was a myth, even the combi had a space for that rungu, you know.
Yeah.
It has been made
There were very many
custom
myths.
made.
There was one I used to hear
custom
that
made for it.
one of those vehicles at that combi had a lot of ammunition in the back and orbits.
Yeah,
Because
orbits.
those
That was
things were
true.
given.
Orbits,
You know,
yes.
every time we
Yeah.
saw that combi, there was something coming out of it. So
I wondered what was the deal with the orbits.
I think
And
the orbit thing started way back, even with Kabarak.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because for those who schooled ahead of us in Kabarak, they used to say that Moi would come with Njonjo and Gigi Karaoke, and Njonjo would open his with his car.
Yeah.
And, you
Was it
know,
a sign
and
that you guys should have fresh breath or what?
no, absolutely
I
not.
think it was
I think it was just
the
curiosity for young
curiosity
people.
for young
Curiosity.
kids. You know, then
Yeah.
it had pellets
We have to go for
inside.
break, yeah. But you know, one of the most surprising things was, I think, as we go to break, was when he said, if he would say, you know, watoto, you know, wakule mkate, where are migate? A lorry would almost immediately appear.
Yes.
It was like it was backed at the corner.
But the bread also, if you remember,
I think ilikuwa inamfuata.
no, but the bread was a symbol of Moi in Baringo. Do you remember any time Moi was in Baringo, we just find Makatiat truck
The
coming.
counter in
Yes.
the evening.
Yes.
And he didn't have to come to school.
He
It was
just
all,
came.
you just know he's around. Because, hiyo bread iliokolea lakini.
Huyo driver alikuwa na kazi.
I have read it because mostly it used to come on Thursdays. I can even remember the days. You know, tomorrow or after preps, we are being called to the dining hall. Like, love for
I hear
bread.
you. We are remembering President Moi today with some of the gentlemen that schooled in one of his schools, Sacho High School, in Kiptugich in Sacho, Baringo County. We're coming back right after the break. Don't go away. This is Talking Points.